Hey, congrats on breaking the slump.
Why are you congratulating me? You hate me.
Yeah, well, my therapist says I'd be more likable if I was more likable, so I'm working on that.
Huh. Well, thanks. It's a huge relief.
Yeah, I bet. It's always nice to probably break a slump.
We didn't probably end it. We won. Slump's over.
Well, sure, but you lose 9 out of 10, it's still a 10-game slump, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I haven't lost 9 out of 10, have I?
Right. Not yet. Just don't worry about it. The slump is probably over.
What's the number to your therapist?
Oh, I don't have a therapist.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team that is a dub against the Dallas Stars, a team that I believe most of you would consider to be one of the very best in the NHL. They're consistently at the top of many people's weekly rankings. That's a good team. And we won. Now look, a shootout win where you needed a goal with less than 2 minutes left to tie it up might not be a slump breaker. It might not be. But if you want to talk about something you can springboard off of, this is good. This is a good one. This is a team in the Dallas Stars that we had beaten once this season, 3-2 in November. And while the Bruins have been spiraling, the Stars have steadily continued their fantastic campaign, going 7-1-2 in their last 10. And they rank top 10 in power play, 10th. They rank 9th in penalty kill. Both of those feel like they could get better with the personnel they have. They are number 1 in the league in goals scored per game and 13th in goals allowed per game. But if Ottinger can shake off what has been a pretty mediocre season by him, sitting at a .904 save percentage before this game, I think this team just becomes absolutely terrifying. Their top 6 is deadly. Their depth is excellent. Where do you point on that team and go, this is what they're screwed on? If you go over to the Stars Reddit, I bet you can find someone who will tell you. I bet a bunch of them are like, the team's too soft. So, there's always that pocket of fans with every franchise. But I have a hard time seeing a lot of flaws with the Stars. Not exactly a team that you look forward to playing in a slump. This is the game you walk into and you're struggling, right? You can't put it together. You're not getting the results you want. You're not getting the processes you want. It's not working. And you know the best case scenario, even if you are the elite team that you want to be, you're playing another elite team. Like, there's obviously always that night where maybe they won't have it tonight and we just get to roll over them. But that doesn't feel like it really, that doesn't make anything better. You want their best. And I think we got a real good shot from the Stars. I think they brought it. And you go into that game and you go, best case scenario is this gritty fight to the death game. And we need this win. We needed the win against the Kings. Not for standings points or anything like that. Just to start the upward trajectory. You need that. And you get to face one of the best teams in the NHL. It's just not an ideal situation for a team just trying to shake off the bad vibes. But it is also kind of the perfect opportunity. God, that's actually really good life advice, by the way. Just that whole scenario where you go into a situation where the best case scenario is you just squeak by and you're just doing everything you can, performing at the highest of your level just to get there by 1%. But you did it. Just barely, but you did it? I mean, that still counts, man. I can't tell you how many times in life you're going to be in a room or a situation where you go, I don't belong here. I'm not good enough to be here. I'm not whatever bullcrap you tell yourself that's completely wrong and stupid. And then you just got to go do it. Or you could walk away. Walking away never helped anybody, I don't think. Not in those scenarios. Just got to do it. And you do it. and you start to realize, hey, maybe you do belong, or maybe you fucking bomb. Let's not act like that's never happened. You absolutely bomb. And you go, all right, I know where I stand now. Let's get back to it. And you work harder and you get better, and then you belong in that room. Guess great life advice over here. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. The Bruins belong is kind of the point I'm making. We didn't go in there as the Mighty Ducks going against a professional hockey team. No, but they belong. They belong with that top tier of teams, and they can beat them. Did we get outplayed for large pockets this one? Yes. We're not completely out of this slump. We're still figuring a lot of stuff out. But it's a great result. And I have a confession to make. I didn't get to watch the whole game. In fact, there were pretty decent pockets throughout that I haven't been able to see yet. I've obviously seen all the highlights. I saw a good portion of the game. But I'm not going to do a full game breakdown because we've already talked for like 5 minutes about other stuff. And it just isn't going to be very fair for me to start going through the game and just bouncing past stuff that you probably would have brought up because you were able to sit down and watch it. My job just hates presidents. For some reason, hospitals have to stay open or whatever. I don't get it. I do get it. Our lines for this one. Not a lot of changes. We have waived Steen. I want things to work for Steen so badly. I'm not mad at that decision. We are hanging on to Richard up here, and then we signed Justin Brazeau, who is a 26-year-old beefy boy forward, and he played his first NHL game and scored in it. That's the first thing. Can we just go, how cool is that? First NHL game at 26 years old and scores in it. I think they want that big bruising frame. I don't think they've really liked their forecheck consistently from the bottom six, so they're hoping that he can add a little pop, and he gets to the front of the net. He creates a little disturbance here or there. I mean, first game, that's a win. On the defense, no real changes either. They just Forbes Shaddy. Wotherspoon's not going to be in this one. Lauko also scratched, but they've started to lose faith in him, unfortunately. Although I think there is a degree of they are shopping him. That is my guess of, does anyone want him included in a deal at the deadline? So that might be playing a little bit of a role there. So what are we doing instead of a full game breakdown? We're just going to talk about game notes, but bigger than that, really. And the first thing is give that fourth line another chance. From what I could see, from what I watched, from what I saw from the analytics, all that good stuff, they got blended 1,000 times. We changed our lines around a lot as we continued to get outshot and outchanced by a bazillion. But when it was Brazeau and Boquist and Richard, they were making noise. There was some real pace to their game. There was some real hitting, some real forechecks. And they created some real chances. I don't see why you would move away from it. Obviously, we're going to see that line bounced around quite a bit, but let's give that line a little run. Give them a little bit of leash, see what they can do. And also, not for nothing, he was going back to that line directly after major instances in this game. That second goal by the Stars. And the fourth line is the next line out. And then they scored. And you will sit there, it's kind of the chess match of it all, right? Because you look at Monty, and you're like, all right, Monty, how do you respond to that second goal? By the way, that second goal is the end of the game if this team doesn't have something. Doesn't have something, right? You didn't really do anything wrong other than lose a faceoff. That puck had eyes, went right through everybody. You were in the middle of a deep slump. You can't catch a break right now. Ottinger had just made a big save. Boom. Goal against. And you're down a goal to a team that just seems better than you right now. And then they pushed right back. And Monty, instead of going with his top line, or with any of the scoring lines really, puts the dogs out there and goes, go get them. Go fuck them up. Like, that's what we're doing. I'm not throwing the towel in on this one, and we're going to start this with physical presence. Go get them. I don't think he expected them to score on that shift. Do you? Honestly? Just a different style of coaching. And I thought, obviously it worked out brilliantly, but he didn't respond to that goal saying, we need to score one right away. We need to get that right away. No, he went, time to get into a rhythm. Go get him. Lay a big hit, get in a fight, do whatever. forecheck, on-time pressure. Maybe that was really his goal. He was noticing they were getting pucks deep and getting possession. All right, great. Get in there, get the puck. Let's start switching out one by one. We'll get our scorers on the ice who can't seem to get over the neutral zone to actually create a chance for themselves. The fourth line played well, and Monty recognized that, and it actually paid dividends. That is going to kind of bleed into our next point here. Stop wasting efforts and games when your bottom six scores multiple goals. What are we doing? This is the second game in a row where the bottom six has carried the load scoring, and we won this one. I'm not upset by any means. Relentless optimism. I'm pumped. The top six has to be better. They have to be. You can't sit there and be like, the fourth line scored 2 goals. We're going into the final 5 minutes down by a goal? Come on. You can't be outperformed by your fourth line like that. They're getting half the amount of ice time you are, and they're creating more chances. I mean, I hate the whole bootstraps thing. Bootstraps. Pull them up. Get to work. I really think Monty is trying to send that message of, look at what these guys are doing. Look at how they're scoring goals. We can't keep dipsy doodling around expecting the perfect play to come together. This is a National Hockey League. Get in the fucking mud. I think it's a good point. The top six should be a little embarrassed right now. Of course, the top six is the one who scored the game-tying goal, and then McAvoy was the one who scored the winner in the shootout, all that good stuff. But top six isn't keeping us in these games right now. It's the bottom six and the goaltending. And Swayman was great. I'm not going to have a big point about him. There was probably one that he wants back, but not even like in an egregious way, just at his level. He was really solid, obviously, in the shootout as well. Why is the top six getting caved as often as they are? Go look at the advanced analytics, all that kind of stuff. The top six looks terrible in those numbers. Just really, really bad. Well, it's going to be a couple of things. First of all, Monty's system is quality over quantity. I almost said the opposite. They want, how did I just say it? Quality over quantity. They want quality. He wants us to move that puck around, and he wants us to create a real chance. Simple. The way advanced analytics are taken right now, there is a degree of, well, if you just keep shooting the damn puck, your expected goals goes up because there's more chances. They try to counter that with weighting the different chances and whatnot. But I think there's still a degree of catching up to do there. And so you'll see teams like the Canes or the Stars or, that just swallow other teams up in their expected goal differentials. Just way better because they shoot 1 billion times. They're quantity teams. That's not the wrong way to do it. And honestly, it looks like it's going to work this year as well. That being said, you're going to have some of that come into play with why the expected goals don't look good for us. Is it worrisome in some areas? Absolutely, which we're going to get to right now. When they aren't scoring, our top six forwards aren't very good defensively, right? You have your liabilities in the top six, who are Pasta. Zaka's not very good. We know Pasta's a liability, though. Zaka's not very good. We know that when JVR is in the top six, he's abysmal. He's one of the worst forward defenders in the team. It's bad. I would argue that Heinen's not very good defensively. He's okay, but he's not very good. You have really 3 guys that you look at and you go, they're strong defensively. We're looking at our top 6 right now. You've got DeBrusk, who's excellent defensively this year. All the numbers say so. The play looks like it. He's very good defensively. Marchand, who we also know, very good defensively. Here's the problem. On each of their lines, DeBrusk and Pasternak are tasked with creating speed through the neutral zone on a breakout. Now, Pasternak's always going to fly the zone first, but DeBrusk is supposed to be there as your second layer. They're tasked with knowing to launch up ice and when to do it. That leads to defensive miscues. That leads to more chances for other teams at times. That's Monty's system. That's part of it. There's responsibility, but there's also knowing that there's no hockey system that's flawless. It is going to leave an opening somewhere. This, you'll see it from the points. teams are able to set up a little easier, and teams are able to maintain pressure, especially if our defense core is not clearing the puck properly. That's part of it. Coyle, the only guy I didn't mention, is excellent defensively and is tasked with doing just that. So when you really only have one top 6 guy that's like, hey, your job is there, and obviously centers, right? But this system, more than most, center is the guy. He's the guy. And the wingers are ready to flee. Very, very standard. A lot of you guys are going to roll your eyes at that. I think Monty's system takes it to another level, especially when you watch the forwards on the top corners spinning and picking up momentum and looking to launch. You'll see it if you draw your eye away from the puck every now and again. The split second they think there's a turnover, you'll see guys who are starting to pick up momentum. And if they don't win that battle, it might only take a second to get back into position. A second's a long time right now, especially in the NHL. Last point with this. Because we are truly a guy short, we are going to struggle to maintain possession as a top 6 unit and maintain scoring chances and play defensively well, play through the neutral zone well, when you always have one guy who doesn't quite belong. Whether it's Heinen or JVR or Freddie or whoever. And Freddie, I think, can belong up there. It's just affecting the bottom 6 too much when he's not part of it. So, by design of Monty's system and the current team, the top 6 is just lacking. It just genuinely is. I'm not losing my mind about it, but there's a real truth to that. And that's why, even though we've talked all year about who we need at the deadline, and a lot of people were like, we need a top 6 guy, and people were like, we're a top 10 scoring team. It wasn't just for the scoring. It's for possession. It's for defensive play. It's for having a cohesive unit. You'd still need those things. And that's why a top 6 guy would pay such huge dividends for this team. I don't know if it's really on the horizon because of how difficult that might be to actually get this year. So, is the top 6 being outperformed by their opposition frequently that big of a concern? Not really. We have the superstar talent in Pasternak and Marchand to make a difference there. And when the role players are rolling like we've seen they can, it's great. When they're not, it kind of falls apart. That's just part of it. So what's this team? Who is this team? Well, this team has that increasingly obvious problem. And that problem is the pieces don't fit. They don't. They genuinely don't. This is not a team sinking issue. This isn't a big deal. It's a part of the weakness of this team. Every team, especially in the East, has a weakness. This one's ours. Sweeney built this team very cleverly. But JVR is probably the perfect example of this. Where is he best used? Right? You would probably argue power play, net front presence, and a third line, set him up in front of the net, have a hard forechecker next to him, get the puck to the net. The problem is, JVR needs some sort of strong possession guys with him. If Coyle could still be a third line center, a JVR Coyle Freddie line, with the way Coyle maintains possession, with the way Freddie comes in on the forecheck, and with the way JVR battles net front and on the walls, that's a line, man. That is a depth line. We aren't afforded that opportunity. We just aren't. JVR doesn't have the personnel next to him to get the best version of him. Now, he's had moments this year. He's played in the top 6, and when he's high, woo! He's outperformed his expectations by a mile to me. He's been great. This isn't an insult. But he's a perfect encapsulation of where this team is struggling. You have him down to this third line, and if Geeky's having an off night, which we've seen a bunch lately, that just all falls apart. Once Freddie's back there, though, they work together, it works out, because the duo can kind of make up for that. And Geeky, even on his worst night, is always positioned so well that he draws defense away, which definitely helps. It's just when every time he touches the puck, it goes to the opposition is when, you don't love it. But so you have like a JVR conundrum of, like, where do you fit? And then Heinen. Well, we could play Heinen anywhere. Yeah, but should you? Really? DeBrusk gone completely cold, but he's got to be in the top 6, because who else are you going to put up there? Right? You just have too many guys where you could go, I could play them on any of the bottom 9 lines. Yeah, but how does it work with the other guy? Well, he kind of needs a setup guy. Okay, well, you don't have the setup guy for him because he has to be used elsewhere, right? The puzzle isn't fitting right now. That's fine. The trade deadline's coming up. You get a little help in. You might be able to make some moves here. But even if you can't, and we're completely stuck, and the trade deadline's not going to work out for us, there are times with this team, it's just going to click and it's going to go great. But there are going to continue to be times where things aren't working together because the chemistry just, the way these guys play isn't a perfect mix. In all year, I think you're going to recognize this when you take a step back and go, how have I wanted to change the lines as we go month to month through the year? And every time we have a change, what fucks something else up somewhere else. It's just not a perfect puzzle. And that's what the season's for, is figuring that out. It makes it a lot more interesting, though. Because for a week, that puzzle fit. But then it kind of twists just a little bit, and you go, oh, wait, that's not going to stay like that, though. It's difficult. Honestly, I just wanted to talk about those things. I know this is a non-usual video and me just ranting for a while, but thanks for talking with me, guys. And I'd love to see what your thoughts are below. Jump in. Tell me what I've got wrong, what I've got right. Tell me what lines you want to see. Tell me what you think this team needs to do at the trade deadline as we continue to work on those pieces. This team, man, love these Bruins. They're a good team. And they're going to keep getting better. Go Bees. Go Bees!
Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, but it is time to give a shout out to our high-quality inspectors. We've got our top line tier inspectors. We got Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, the Bugman, the Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Aaron Adams, Just Aaron, Darren Woodbury, Brett Arney, Pinsen, and Nick Citrullo. Thank you guys so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. And of course, massive props to these absolute stallions, the all-star tier inspectors. We have Bruins Smash, Jason Ozzie, Bruin Connolly, Jonathan Harvey, Joel, Abraxion, Jacob Pratt, Tupton D. Tashi, D.A. Kingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Doots42, and Jeremy. You guys are absolute studs. I can't thank you enough, and go Bees.